Good evening. I'm City Manager Ed Zerker. Welcome to the 5th trial budget hearing. This is a community-wide hearing focused especially on youth of Phoenix. This is April the 6th, and welcome to all of you joining us on Phoenix TV or streaming on our YouTube channel. I'll introduce first our Spanish language interpreter, who will give some instructions, and then from there we will go to words from Councilmember Carlos Garcia, who's hosting this meeting here this evening. I'll give a few more comments of explanation, and then we'll have a short video, and after that we will go to comments. With that, I'll introduce our Spanish language interpreter, Mario Barajas. Mario, if you would give your announcement, please.
Yes, Ed, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mario Barajas, and together with my colleague, Elsie Duarte, we will be serving as Spanish interpreters for today's virtual budget audience. We will ask as a favor, if you will be providing a public comment, please try to speak slowly and clearly so that we can try to interpret what you are saying as fully as possible. Thank you. Now, to avoid any confusion, I'm now going to provide instructions on how to access the hearing in Spanish and in English. But first, I'm going to say it in English. From your telephone, you will be dialing 602-666-0783 and enter meeting ID 187-162-7053, then pound. And press pound again when prompted for attendee ID. I will now take this time to introduce myself to our Spanish-speaking audience. Muy buenas tardes a todos. Mi nombre es Mario Barajas y junto con mi colega Elsie Duarte estaremos sirviéndoles como intérpretes para la audiencia del presupuesto virtual de hoy. Les pedimos como favor, si es que va a estar dando un comentario público, hable despacio y deténgase después de cada pocas oraciones para que podamos interpretar lo que esté diciendo de la manera más completa posible. Muchísimas gracias. Ahora les indicaré cómo acceder a la audiencia por teléfono en español, si es que aún no lo ha hecho. Estará marcando el número de teléfono 602-666-0783. Introduzca el número de identificación o ID de la reunión, que viene siendo 187-949-9395 y luego pound, o sea, el signo de número. Nuevamente, introduzca el pound o signo de número cuando se le solicite el número de identificación o ID de asistente. Muchísimas gracias. Thank you, Ed.
Thank you, Mario. At this time, it's my privilege to introduce our host for this evening, District 8 City Council Member Carlos Garcia. Council Member.
Thank you, Ed, and thank you everyone who's tuned in and watching us. Excited for this particular hearing. I think we oftentimes don't give an opportunity to hear from the youth. We've all had a really hard year with the pandemic. The pandemic's not over, but I think one thing that we've seen this last year is that we're really valuing the things that matter, and so it's a great reflective time for all of us. And entering this conversation around the budget, I think it's important to remember all those essential workers, all the things that we've gone through in the last year. So having said that, I think those are my comments, and excited to hear from the youth today.
Thank you, Council Member. At this time, I'd like to introduce our budget hearing content. So every year the budget process is undertaken to get us to a July 1 start. We start in February and March with a trial budget put out by the city manager and the staff, which is a document that allows the community to have comments on what's proposed. We have, for the month of April, this year we have 14 budget hearings. This is the 5th of 14, aimed at giving opportunity for as many people as possible to give us input. This year's trial budget is available online at Phoenix.gov/budget. There is a hard copy in my hand, but this is also online at Phoenix.gov/budget. It gives a great deal of detail about the proposals for the budget. In this year, we have a surplus of over $150 million, of which about $100 million is one-time money to be used for things that don't go on into time, and about $45 million or so, or about $50 million or so, that is ongoing money that can be used for things that go on into the future. The budget is divided into 6 key areas in the general fund where we propose additions that include things like administrative accountability, responding to growth, responding to COVID. Public safety reform and responsiveness is the single biggest group. Climate change and heat readiness, and affordable housing and homelessness, among others. Those are areas in which you will hear and see programs that are proposed to be added. There's also a significant amount of funds dedicated to our labor groups, as Councilmember Garcia noted, our essential workers, our city employees who are providing the services every day. We are negotiating contracts with them, and so there's a significant portion of funds allocated towards city employees. I want to thank our city employees who are here with us this evening. In the audience, we do have socially distanced and wearing masks. City employees who are here to listen to the comments from the public. I also want to thank Assistant City Manager Jeff Barton, who is here, who oversees our budget process, our Budget and Research Director, Amber Williamson, and all the Budget and Research Department staff who put these on, taking minutes, making sure that everything is working for the hearing to take place. Your comments are captured, of course, on video, as these are virtual hearings. They're available on the city's Phoenix TV YouTube channel. They're available all the time. They'll be posted on the city's webpage. Minutes are taken and are written and distributed to the council every Thursday. And so there are multiple ways for you to phone in, to email in, and to contribute. And those are all captured and distributed for all council members to be able to listen and understand. So with that, we want to have about an 8-minute video that gives a high-level overview of the proposals for this trial budget. Again, you can get as much detail as you like by going to Phoenix.gov/budget. There's, as I said before, you can spend 15 minutes or 15 hours digging into the amount of depth and information that you'd like on that website. With that, I'll turn it to our video, and after that, we will go to the phones.
The City of Phoenix trial budget for fiscal year 2021-22, proposed by the Phoenix City Manager, is ready for public review and comment. The goal of this trial budget is to identify programs and services that build a better, more inclusive city for all.
Phoenix has a long history of public budgeting, giving the community a voice in the future of our city by starting the public involvement much earlier than required. This year, due to the pandemic, public involvement will be virtual, but our goal is that we will provide even more opportunities for you to share your feedback.
We'll host virtual budget community hearings between April 2nd and April 20th in both English and Spanish by council district and citywide for youth and for seniors. And this year, we've launched the Fund Phoenix tool, an interactive way to share what's important to you when it comes to city programs and services.
The law requires the city's budget to be balanced each year. And this year, we are happy to report a projected budget surplus of $153 million, made up of $98 million in one-time funds and $55 million in ongoing funding. This is thanks to Phoenix's continued strong economy and sound leadership by the mayor and city council, and the city's strategic use of data to direct our efforts during the pandemic.
City employees have stood on the front lines of the pandemic more than a year and counting to provide critical services and support to our residents and customers. Approximately 77% of the surplus in the 2021-22 trial budget is allocated to employee compensation to continue to retain and recruit top talent to provide the level of service our customers rely on to stay safe, healthy, and connected.
$35 million is allocated to address important needs raised by the Council and the community across 6 areas. Focus Area 1, Public Safety Reform and Responsiveness. More accountability, responsiveness, transparency, and trust is demanded from public safety programs. In this budget proposal, the city expands an already successful fire department program where trained mental health experts respond to 911 callers needing crisis health services. The expansion of the Community Assistance Program follows community and council requests for innovative ways to respond to crisis calls for service with mental health professionals rather than police officers. This not only strengthens health outcomes, but frees up police officers and firefighters to focus on public safety calls, reducing response times for our community. In addition, the budget adds other important public safety reforms by adding additional 911 operators, reducing wait time for police public records, improving police officer accountability through an improved human resource management system, and more comprehensive reporting of crime data.
Focus Area 2, COVID response and resiliency. The city's navigated the COVID pandemic well, protecting employees and the community, because we have relied on data and contracted public health experts to inform our efforts. We transitioned City Hall to an appointment-only model. We also pivoted our programs and services to support the community in need of Wi-Fi connectivity and access to emergency food support and virtual and curbside library services, requiring additional staffing and technology enhancements. Funding's required to continue these efforts through the pandemic.
Focus Area 3, Climate Change and Heat Readiness. Climate change and the record-breaking heat in Phoenix call for investment in strategies to address the negative impacts on our residents, particularly our most vulnerable, including seniors and those in poverty and experiencing homelessness. The trial budget includes a new Office of Heat Response and Mitigation to focus these efforts, the addition of staff to plant and maintain trees, and advance the city's Cool Corridors program, all to meet the goals of the Tree and Shade Master Plan to double the tree canopy by 2030 and reduce the impact of heat.
Focus Area 4, affordable housing and homelessness. The city has a lack of affordable housing and more people experiencing homelessness than ever before. The City Council approved a Housing Phoenix plan and a Homeless Strategies plan to find solutions to identify funding to increase and improve affordable housing units, and to leverage federal funding and work with community partners to help those experiencing homelessness. Funding will provide staffing and programs to foster affordable housing developments on city-owned land and ensure the safety and security of those experiencing homelessness and the impacted neighborhoods and businesses.
Focus Area 5, Building Community and Responding to Growth. There continues to be a great need to connect underserved communities to the economic benefits of our city's continued growth. We will fund programs and services that foster equitable education and recreation opportunities for youth and special needs populations, including the Phoenix Public Library's College Depot, clean and safe neighborhoods, and support for homegrown small businesses. Funding will support the growing needs at city parks and recreation centers, including the new Cesar Chavez Community Center, scheduled to open in the fall of 2021, Margaret T. Hance Park in downtown Phoenix, and Dean Hills Recreation Area in North Phoenix, as well as the successful Inclusive Recreation Program for residents with special needs. We also propose an increase in funding for arts and historic preservation grants.
Focus Area 6, administrative accountability. The city must continue to foster a diverse, equitable, and inclusive environment to live and work for residents and employees. To succeed, we propose to create the Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. We'll also invest in technologies to support data-driven decision-making across city departments and to protect the city's IT systems from cybersecurity threats. enhance election processes, to increase engagement in city elections, and connect residents to library and park services.
This has been just a taste of what you will find in the 2021-2022 City of Phoenix trial budget. We hope that you'll review additional details in the budget available online at Phoenix.gov/budget.
Please share your feedback in whatever way works best for you at one of our 14 community budget hearings or by email at budget.research@phoenix.gov, through our City of Phoenix AZ on Facebook or Twitter, and use the hashtag PhoenixBudget, or call us at 602-262-4800. The city manager will present his proposed budget for 2021-22 to the Phoenix City Council on May 4th, 2021. The council's budget decision will take place on May 18th, 2021. Both meetings will be streamed online and on Phoenix TV. Thank you for being part of this important process. We look forward to hearing your ideas for this year's trial budget and the future of Phoenix.
Thank you. With that, now we'll go to the speakers. Matt will give the introduction and then call names. Matt?
Thank you, sir. I just wanted to read a brief statement about hearing conduct during public comment. Members of the public will have the opportunity to speak for up to 2 minutes on budget issues of interest or concern to them. Speakers must present their comments in a respectful and courteous manner. Profane language and personal attacks on members of the public, council members, or staff are not allowed. A person who violates these rules can lose their opportunity to continue to speak. The Arizona Open Meeting Law permits the City Council to listen to the comments, but prohibits council members from discussing or acting on the matters presented. And with that, our first speaker is Ramon Gomez. Ramon, are you on the line? It does not appear that Ramon is on the line, so our next speaker is Ginger Torres. Ginger, are you on the line? Okay, it does not appear that Ginger is on the line. Our next speaker is Benton. Benton, are you on the line? Hello, Benton. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear.
Oh, then please share your comments.
My name is Benton Abeg. I am 9 years old, and I really want the park on Samantha Street.
Thank you, Benton. If you have anything else you want to say, you do have more time, or we'll take that down.
That's all.
Thank you, sir. Our next speaker is Ethan. Ethan, are you on the line? It does not appear that Ethan is on the line, so our next speaker is Asher. Asher, are you on the line? Okay, let's go back to Ethan. Ethan, are you on the line?
Yes,
Yes, if you could speak up a little bit, you're a little soft.
Okay. Hi, my name is Ethan, and I go to Sail Point. I really want the new park because it would be fun to go to, and it's close by, so that we don't have to cross multiple roads to get to Paseo Point Park. And I'm not the only one who wants it. It would be fun to have because we have a lot of kids in our neighborhood, so we should get a park, and that would make everyone happy. At the park, it would be good to have a soccer field for people to play. Thank you.
Thank you, Ethan. And our next speaker is Asher, who I think is on the same line. So, Asher, are you available to speak?
Hi.
Hey there, Asher. If you could please speak up a little bit louder, because you're kind of soft.
Hi, my name is Asher, and I am 6 years old. And I really want the park to be built, and because I think it will be really fun, and we can pretty much ride our bikes there. Thanks.
Thank you, Asher. Did you have anything else you wanted to add? Okay, thank you. Our next speaker is Dazane Brown. Dazane, are you on the line?
Yes, hello.
Great, we can hear you.
Okay. I noticed that there are climate change and heat readiness allocations, and that there's the plan for the establishment of the Office of Heat Response and Mitigation, and within that there's the plan for tree shading, and the street department's cool corridors program. But I think that in, I guess, addition to this, there should also be a focus on ensuring that our vulnerable populations, such as elderly populations and our homeless communities, have access to sanitary and accessible water drinking fountains, more bus stops that provide shade and shelter from the heat, and then within parks, more benches that provide shade, so that it's not just the streets that they have to sit on to get that shade. There are places that they can go, and when they're not in shelters, they have places to go that protect them from the sun, but also that they have access to clean drinking water, because not only is the sun bearing down, but the air itself is hot.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Veronica Baca. Veronica, are you on the line?
Yes, I'm on the line.
Great, please proceed.
Forgive me, I wasn't sure on how to do or add my daughter, so she will also be speaking really quick. But I was calling to get the park on 55th Avenue and Samantha Way built, and my daughter also has something quick she'd like to say.
Hello, my name is Dominique, and I go to Paseo Point, and I live nearby. I really would like the park to be built on 55th Avenue and Samantha, so I can walk and get some exercise. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comment.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Ainsley Ingenue. Ainsley, are you on the line?
Yes, we're here.
Great, please proceed.
And I'm also just introducing my son to speak, so he's going to start now.
Good evening, my name is Zajani Ngunu.
I am 5 years old.
I am 5 years old, and I live in Levine. This year's been hard not playing with my friends.
And I'm asking you to please build the park in Levine.
I'm asking you to please build the park in Levine.
So we can have fun together.
So we can have fun together.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you for calling in. Our next speaker is Greta Rail. Greta, are you on the line?
Yes, I'm here.
Great, please proceed.
Hi. I'd just like to say first and foremost that I think it's wonderful to hear so many youth getting involved in their communities. It's been interesting to listen to their comments. I'm here on a different reason, however. I'm representing the Historic Preservation Commission. I serve as vice chair of the commission, and I'd like to thank you for your support of historic preservation. In the past, voters have approved funds in 3 bond elections where grants were made available for rehabilitation of historic properties. Over $42 million has been approved through the 3 bond elections for historic preservation projects and programs. The bond funds from the last bond election in 2006 have all been depleted. and $200,000 is much needed in order to help assist those who are making every effort to maintain their historic residences, in part so that our youth have history in their lives and are able to see the history that we all experience now as adults. I know the addition of $200,000 in the planning and development budget, which is listed on the top of page 38, will help maintain our city's historic resources until such a time that another bond election can be held. In exchange for grant funding, the city will receive a conservation easement on the property that provides an additional level of protection. Thank you all for your support of the city manager's budget and supporting the $200,000 for historic preservation grant funding.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Gladiela Lopez Felix. Gladiela, are you on the line?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. There was a little bit of an issue with the connection, so let's try again.
Okay, is this better?
Yes, thank you.
And I'm here to say that I oppose this budget. If we are at the point that we have to bribe cops to be honest and accountable, this department is way past reformable. We're tired of weak reforms. Giving the police, the Phoenix police pay raises is rewarding them for a year of being a national embarrassment, endless scandals, and anti-Black violence. They killed our neighbors, had white supremacists within their ranks exposed, and colluded with the county attorney to prosecute protesters. A vote in favor of this budget is a vote for white supremacy. Money needs to go to resources and people that need it. Also, giving special units, special assignment unit team leaders a 5% raise is a slap in the face to all the families who have lost loved ones to this unit. Continuing to add more people to a rotten system isn't going to fix anything. So if you were actually interested in increasing transparency, you would be focused on changing policies rather than growing this department. The crisis response program is, if the crisis response program is implemented, the money must come from the surplus or from the police department, not the surplus. Many people are hurting due to COVID. The surplus needs to go to our communities and people in need. Thank you.
Thank you. I believe that Ramon Gomez was able to connect, so I wanted to circle back and see if Ramon was on the line.
I'm here. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir.
Can
Please
everybody hear me?
proceed.
Hi, good evening. Sorry, I've been having issues logging on and off this evening for some reason. Thank you for having me. Thank you for this meeting. My name is Ramon Gomez. I live in Laveen, Arizona, in the Paseo Point subdivision, District 8. I'm calling in today to express the need for the funding or surplus funding for the park off 55th Avenue and Samantha Way. That is a park that is right across from Paseo Point Elementary School. It is right now the eyesore of the community. It's been like that for the past 6 years since I've been living here. This subdivision was the last subdivision being built when I first got here 6 years ago, and I know it's been going on for longer. They let us know that the 202 would be coming, the elementary would be coming, and the park would be coming. As of now, the elementary and the 202 has come already, and now the community keeps growing south of us. Dobbins, there's more new builds coming up. The nearest park here is 3 miles from me off 35th Avenue. That would be beneficial for me and for the community members. About 2 weeks ago, there was a Play 60 event held at the Paseo Point Elementary, which educates children to go outside and be outdoors. The field was crammed with kids, parents. If that park would have been open, that would give him more opportunity to spread into the park and be of benefit. Please take that into consideration. It's very important for us in our community here. Thank you and have a great evening.
Thank you. Also, it looks as though Ginger Torres was able to connect, so I want to circle back and see if Ginger is on the line.
I am on the line. Thank you for coming back to me.
You're welcome.
I
Please
have my
proceed.
son here who would like to say a few words. My son.
Well, my name is Kai, and I'm 6, and we ignore trees, and we have to protect our city from climate change.
Thank you, Kai. And I am also a member of Ginger Torres, I'm a member of the City of Phoenix Environmental Quality and Sustainability Commission and the city's Urban Heat Island Tree and Shade Subcommittee. So I would encourage all youth on the call to please, these are public meetings, please come to them. And we investigate these issues that are important to our youth regarding climate change, urban heat island effect in depth. And I also want to refer city council members to a budget position justification for the tree and shade administrator that is proposed in the city manager's trial budget. So please find more details regarding the specific benefits of the position in that document. Thank you for the opportunity to comment.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Maria Castro. Maria, are you on the line? Okay, it does not appear that Maria is on the line at the moment. Our next speaker is Yasmin Sagastume. Yasmin, are you on the line?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Please proceed.
Hi, I'm Yasmin. I'm a member of District 5. So it's really great to see that no one is here to listen to me. It's actually been very hard for me to speak on the budget for the past year because I've either never been called on or I've been removed. So I'm actually a little bit frustrated right now. And well, I think that as young brown people, we experience a lot of the disparity and the lack of funding in our communities since childhood. So this is actually very important. And right, we see that from moving a lot because our families struggle economically or because we have to wait at the bus stop since 5 a.m. to get to school on time because a lot of the buses don't end up coming or they come late. And we come here and we talk about these things and we constantly get ignored and no one's here or anything like that. And investing in our people is how like we bring safety. And right now, the way that the budget is built or in the budget that is proposed does not invest in our people. For example, giving police bonuses is not going to house LGBTQ plus teens that have nowhere to sleep. And that's safety, right? Having a bed where you can get rest, knowing that if you call a number, you can help you with that, you'll get help with your son who's having a mental health crisis. Or having a shaded bus stop that the bus comes on time or that there's multiple buses that come often so that you can get to school on time. Like there's so many other things that don't require police that would bring the community safety. Because right now with the existence of police, right, we still experience all the issues that we always have. So a crisis response program is great, right? Like that's awesome. But if the money that we use is not intentional and it's not permanent, then it's going to be no use. So yeah, bring back a budget, please, that has the community centered.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Chris.
Could I ask a question of
yes,
Yasmin? Yasmin, I know you've done some work talking to other folks. Can you explain a little bit of what it's been like to talk to other people about where the funds should be spent and what your experience has been like?
Yeah, I've had a lot of people that, so I organize with youth, so I've had a lot of youth say that they're really interested in housing and housing opportunities, which is why I brought up that point, right, that there's a lot of the population that is, that has no shelter right now is LGBTQ plus youth that get kicked out of their houses. And there's no places, like we heard earlier, for them to hang out at, to be safe, to drink water, like have all these things. And so I think a really big thing that I've heard is that we want more housing, more community development, yeah, a lot of stuff that how education's obviously a really big one, and something that actually youth really care about, which I think that people don't think they do, but they do.
Thank you.
And our next speaker is Christy Bursaw. Christy, are you on the line?
Yes, I'm here.
Great, please proceed.
Thank you. Okay, thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight and letting our voices be heard. My name is Christy, and I'm a wife and a mother of 2 children, and we live in the Paseo Point community, not far from where the proposed park on 55th Avenue and Samantha Way would be built. I am here to advocate for the park maintenance to be added to the budget. There is no park within 3 miles of this area, and this community is growing very quickly. We have 2 large schools and many families. With a surplus in the budget, this seems like the perfect opportunity to get our long-awaited park built. Thank you so much for your time tonight.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Amy Meglio. Amy, are you on the line?
Yes.
Great, please proceed.
All right. So, hi, my name is Amy Meglio. I'm a volunteer lead coordinator with Grassroots Law and a member of the Neighborhood Organized Crisis Assistance Coalition. And well, the No Cap Coalition will be presenting a letter to the city with 18 specific demands for the proposed community advocacy program. I'd like to ask you to focus on the need for just one of those demands, which is total independence in the CAP this evening. First, while the fire department is a good place to start, since fire is integrated into 911, it's a good place to start, but it's an inappropriate long-term home for the CAP because of the culture and composition of the fire department staff and management. And also, politically, the fire department is closely aligned with the Phoenix PD. So if the crisis response program remains under fire department, the fire chief will have control over the hiring process, over protocols within the CAP, and even influence over future budgets for the program. Has the city decided where the long-term home for the program will be? And then also, the goal of the program needs to be to support people in times of crisis without the use of the criminal legal system. People shouldn't be criminalized for calling for help. Can the city assure us that the CAP program will not report names, personal information, or any details about their interactions with PPD or ICE? And would the city support an ordinance that explicitly states that? Thank you, and I yield my time.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Hava Derby.
Hello.
Sorry. Amy, thank you for those comments, and it's my understanding, and Jeff here could probably explain a little bit more, that the ordinance and the functions of it will come at a later date. But yeah, thank you for your contribution. Can you explain a little bit more of what you mean by independence? And then Jeff, maybe you can speak to what the process would look like after.
Yeah, what I mean by independence would be that it would eventually grow into its own separate entity, also networked into the 911 infrastructure, where it would be sort of equivalent to the fire department instead of running under it.
Amy, this is Jeff Barton, Assistant City Manager. First and foremost, thank you for your comments. I do want to let you know that the intent ultimately will be that this program is probably going to grow to a size and scale that is going to require its own function. However, implementing a new program of $15 million with 130 positions is going to take quite some administrative support and assistance, and that's what the fire department offers from a jumping off perspective. So again, we do not intend that this program will live long within the fire department, but there is probably an 18 to 24 month lead time to get this program up to where all 130 positions are fully integrated into the system, as well as having on board that public-private partnership with a clinician and a behavioral health specialist, as well as a telemed platform. So again, the long-term plan is that as this program matures and we offload more calls from both police and fire, that this program will become a robust program that will more than likely require being its own function.
Thank you for that.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Hava Derby. Hava, are you on the line?
Hello there. Thank you. I'm actually going to be speaking. I'm in opposition of the budget so far as it stands with a crisis assistance program. So I too am encouraging the use of a program like NOCAP, Neighborhood Organized Crisis Assistance. And so I don't know that I can share anything more about it unless there's questions, but I do want to really iterate that it is separate. It sounds like that's already in the works to at some point separate. Also want to encourage an ad hoc committee so that there is community oversight and not oversight by just police or fire department, that it's a separate department unto itself, and, a whole separate public safety department. So yeah, I think Amy covered everything. I'm really hoping that we can also use police budget for this and that it gets fully funded from all the money that will be saved from these calls being answered by a crisis assistance program. So, ongoing funding and from the police budget. Thank you for your time. I yield the rest of it.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Linda Abeg. Linda, are you on the line?
Yes, I am.
Great. Please proceed.
Thank you, Councilmember Garcia, Mr. Barton, and Mr. Zerker, and city staff. I'm here to speak requesting that the park on 55th Avenue and Samantha Way be added to the budget. One area of the budget is community services and growth. I want to share some numbers about our youth that demonstrate how Laveen should qualify for funding in this area of the budget. I've shared before that this park is on Samantha is by 2 schools with a combined student body of close to 3,000 youth. Let me also give you an idea of how our area has grown by the growth numbers in the Laveen Elementary School District, which serves K through 8 students. In 2007, about when Phoenix stopped building parks in Laveen District had just built its 5th school. I was a teacher there at the time. Since then, Laveen has gone from 5 schools, each with around 1,000 students, to 9 schools and an online academy, with more schools on the way. There are currently about 7,300 children in the Laveen School District, about 70 of whom qualify for free and reduced lunch. With 5,500 new homes and apartments projected to be built in only the next 3 years, Laveen is looking at increasing its student body again by 1/3, more than doubling the number of schools since Phoenix stopped building parks. Our public K-12 schools alone currently have close to 12,000 students. We also have at least 6 additional charter schools. All of these children and the thousands on the way share only 5 parks. You can imagine how few of these children are able to safely walk or bike to a park. I ask that you please recognize how Laveen fits into the community services and growth area of the budget and add the park at 55th Avenue in Samantha, which is close to many children and miles from any existing park. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Samuel Merton. Samuel, are you on the line?
Yes.
Please proceed.
Hi. I'm also calling as part of the Neighborhood Organized Crisis Assistance Coalition. Yesterday it was mentioned that the yearly ongoing budget will now be $15 million. I was hoping you can take a few moments and comment about where the ongoing $15 million is coming from, and if that yearly money is guaranteed and written into the legislation. The initial funding is coming from a surplus. We can't expect there to be a surplus every year. So if this program's operations are going to dictate its budget, are you considering reallocating money from the police department since it will no longer be taking these calls? And my second question would be, our group is really stressing the importance of community engagement and how that's key to this type of program success. Can you comment on the relationship between the community and the development of this program? Cities like Portland have fully formed ad hoc groups that, specifically for community engagement, that it was written into legislation, and they formed listening sessions, ran surveys, and had direct communication with stakeholder communities. So will there be a publicly ran ad hoc committee? And that will direct this program and make sure it stays on track with what the people who are directly impacted want to see in this program. Thank you.
Samuel, this is Jeff Barton again, and the plan is to have a lot of public interaction with this group and to have oversight. We want to make sure that we engage with the mental and behavioral health community as well as the hospital community. So there definitely will be that, and that's also part of the reason why there's an 18 to 24 month complete rollout of this program, because we do have to develop a request for proposals to actually identify who that service provider is going to be, and we will seek community input as well as mental and behavioral health specialist input on forming that RFP. As far as the funding for the program, this program is already, the $15 million that this program would require to continue it indefinitely is already reflected in our 5-year forecast. So again, there will not be a need to try to scrape together to find funding. This program will be an ongoing funded program, and we will not need to identify additional resources to continue it into the future.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Jennifer Hernandez. Jennifer, are you on the line?
Yes.
Jennifer, if you could speak up a bit more, you sound very soft.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, now we can. Thank you.
Okay, awesome. Yes, so good afternoon, City Representative. I am a young single mother and reside in District 7, where Michael Nowakowski is unfortunately my representative, and I say unfortunately because he has never been an advocate for young people. This year, we are back in demanding that you use my and our tax money the right way. For years now, you have been making decisions about our lives, and along the way, because of your decisions, many of our brothers, sisters, friends, and loved ones have died. Why? Because we never give you permission to give so much of our money to police who have caused these deaths. So I come here as a resident to demand for the city manager in the city of Phoenix to reallocate $10 million from the Phoenix Police Crime Suppression Squad, because Phoenix Police arrest thousands of people every year for marijuana possession. And now that marijuana is legal, arrests by Phoenix Police should decrease by several thousands arrests per year, meaning that they should cut the number of officers employed by the department and reallocate that money to mental health resources in Black and Brown neighborhood, free public transportation for students who have been asking this from school as well as from the city. So we expect either school district, PXU, or the city to do this for us. And a bus only lane, because that would also decrease the interaction that we have with police, and that way we don't have to wait almost an hour and a potential of you losing our job just waiting for a bus. We need more resources for addiction and substance abuse, and more resources for youth in Black and Brown neighborhoods.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Corema Samaniega Ochoa. Corema, are you on the line?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, please proceed.
Hi, my name is Coraima, and I'm an 18-year-old. I'm also a member of District 7. So over the years, multiple people have gotten arrested for marijuana possession, especially in the Black and Brown communities. I believe that now, since marijuana is legalized, the Phoenix police system doesn't need to employ more police and should definitely invest that money that they'd pay those employed police officers towards resources for mental health and resources for addiction and substance abuse, because I've met many people my age that have lost connection with their parents because of addiction, and parents who have had many of their kids missing because of this. I've also noticed that this is very common in the area I live in, which is mainly made up of minorities, and I've seen how afraid these people are of the police you're funding. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Uvixa Dominguez. Uvixa, are you on the line?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Please proceed.
Hi, my name is Uvixa Dominguez. I live on District 5, and the millions of dollars you want to spend bribing police should not be distributed to the should be distributed to the communities they are harming. This transparency and accountability compensation is nothing but an excuse to give cops more money. If we're at the point where we have to bribe cops to be honest and accountable, this department is way past reformable. It's unfair for people to have to deal with killer cops, and the city wants to get more, No, that's very upsetting. I live in District 5, and me and my family, we drive on the crack roads. We pass so many homeless people, past so many people waiting for the public transportation that's always late. If you walk past, or if you walk down the streets of Phoenix, you'd assume that the official leaders have given up on us, and it really feels like this. Police do not need more money. They've been taking it from our tax money. You cannot continue to give police more money as if they're doing something. They're doing nothing. Support these communities by giving mental health resources for unhoused people, better transportation, and literally just making the city better and safer for people. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Jacob Rayford. Jacob, are you on the line?
Yes, I am. Thank you. My name is Jacob Rayford, and I am also an advocate for the Neighborhood Organized Crisis Assistance Program. I noticed that there were a few questions about the specifics of this earlier. And while we did mention that there would be a separate entity according to the assistant manager, that there would be secured funding forecasted for 5 years and mental health groups, one of the things that was not answered earlier was whether or not that this iteration of this program that's going to be housed under the fire department temporarily is going to still report to the institutions like the police department, like ICE, interact with the criminal justice system, as opposed to utilizing itself as just a means to take care of the various mental health crises and various non-violent, non-criminal dispatches that they're sent out towards. Because as one had already mentioned, I believe it was Amy, that there is a connection between the fire department and the police department, a police department that is wrapped in innumerable claims of controversy and has an investigative report on it right now, for instance, for racist issues and things of that nature. So if this were to be applied to the community, and it already exists in a culture where it's conservative to say the least, how do we know that it's not going to be used as a conduit to continue to assault the communities through ICE and through the police department? Furthermore, this budget, which I don't approve of personally, also serves as a means to fund the police department. It's absurd why there is still the need to continue to inflate in an already bloated budget when we could just take that money and place it towards this program. That would show that you're looking for trust and accountability, like what this video said before our conversation started. So you need to involve the ad hoc community. I know you're going to cut me off, but it's important to stress that anything without the community is unilateral and performative. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Denise Sotelo. Denise, are you on the line? Denise, can you hear me? It looks like you are still muted, Denise, so if you could unmute, we'll try one more time. Okay, we'll move on to the next speaker for the moment. Our next speaker is Esri Tyler. Esri, are you on the line?
Yes, I'm here.
Please proceed.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm calling today because I believe we need to reallocate the $10 million currently allocated for the Phoenix Police's Crime Suppression Squad. I'm an organizer with March for Our Lives, but I've also grown up as a Phoenix community member and have always been surrounded by my community's fear of the Phoenix PD. As AZ Central's Brie Burkett and Uriel Garcia found that between 2011 and 2018, the police averaged 25 shots per year, with 42% of those shots being Hispanic, 38% white, 14% black, even though they only represent 7% of our population, and 6% of our indigenous community, even though they only represent 2% of our population. The AZ Central also found in 2018 that the Phoenix Police Department fired at more people than law enforcement officers in any other city in the United States. In 2019, when writing an article for my school paper, I interviewed students about how they felt about the Phoenix Police Department. And I remember one student telling me in particular that they never rest easily because they and their family are obviously Hispanic, but they know specific locations where they feel safer, the wealthier neighborhoods. Instead, to continue to fund the $10 million to Phoenix Police Crime Suppression Squad, especially since The outdated marijuana policies are the primary reason for the crime suppression squad to exist in the first place. We need to fund mental health resources for our BIPOC communities. Only 40.3% of adults with mental illness in Arizona receive any form of treatment from either the public system or private providers, as told to us by the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration in a report in 2015. The remaining 59.7% receive no mental health support. And according to Mental Health America, Arizona is ranked 50 out of 50 states and Washington, D.C. for providing access to mental health services. As a student in our community, the only resource available to me is a single counselor at our campus. And additionally, as we've heard from countless kids today, we need this funding for community resources such as parks. We, the youth, are the future of our community. To break the cycle of extreme underfunding and lack of resources for our communities, both in mental health and other services such as parks, while overfunding a violent police force, we need to oppose the $10 million allocated to Phoenix Police's Crime Suppression Squad. Thank you.
Thank you. I wanted to check back and see if Denise Sotelo was still on the line.
Hi.
Oh,
Can you hear
Denise,
me?
we can hear you. Yes, please proceed.
Thanks for coming back. Okay, good afternoon. Thank you for having me. My name is Denise Sivon Sotelo Mejia. I am a City of Phoenix native. And with that being said, I love no city more than this one. So I'm here today because I think that bringing on 34 more people to get in compliance with the FBI reporting system does not make any sense. That deadline was in January. So there's no need to create current 30 new positions in addition to the 10 people that we hired to do this back in 2019 for something that most cities accomplished on time or while using much less people or a contractor. Also, if the crisis response program is going to be implemented, like you guys mentioned in the video, the money needs to come from the police department and not the city surplus. Many people are hurting not only from COVID, just everyday life here in Phoenix, and the police department does not need to be spending $2 million of our money every single day. The surplus needs to go to the communities. If there's already a fund for this, imagine how much more successful it would be if we take more money from the police department and put it towards that. Some of the examples would be a bus-only lane or a free admission for public transportation for everybody to be able to live within their own means, and everybody can be feeling fulfilled and on time wherever they need to go, not to mention that this would also assist our city in working towards a better environment, which I know is a big thing for everybody else. Thank you so much. You guys have a good day.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Viri Hernandez. Viri, are you on the line? Viri, it sounds like we might have a microphone issue with you. We aren't seeing audio input.
Just a second. Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Please proceed.
Okay, sounds good. My name is Viri Hernandez, and calling to say that this budget is not listening to community members, that money needs to stop being given to police to continue to do the harm and the violence and the white supremacist racist things they've been doing for the last few years. It sounds like we're trying to bribe this department on a transparency and accountability clause that really isn't giving us anything at all, right? There is an illusion that the chief is not going to be able to fire police, right? But when you look at the details, you see that it's only if this cop is charged, arrested for a felony they did while in the job, which will never happen and has never happened. And this, this whole thing is a false reform and false transparency. And this department is way past reform if we're trying to bribe them to just do basic minimal. We cannot have more pay raises to this department. No, you cannot use COVID relief money for police bonuses. No, this SAU unit, which is the deadliest unit, should not be getting more money, right? All of these things are getting included in the MOU and the police contract. No, this department does not need 75 new civilian positions. Positions like public records requests should live under the city clerk, under other departments. This does not have to live under the least transparent and most violent department in the country. And money for things like crisis response team need to be coming from the police department. The police department is not going to save millions of dollars because they're not going to be responding to these calls. They should then also not have that money because that money's not going to be used from a different place. So why is that not something we're looking at? And then also, as many youth have shared, the $10 million, at least $10 million from the crime suppression squad to go to things like free public transportation, bus only lanes, substance abuse, and mental health resources.
Thank you, and that was our last speaker registered for this evening. I also wanted to note that we received 17 e-comments online.
I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. I think the two things that were spoken about today are near and dear to my heart and work. I think the folks that called in for the park, we're going to try our best and try to figure that out. I know it's a need out in Levine, and there was a lot of conversation about the Crisis Response Network. Again, I think it's important that we have these conversations. No decisions on what it's going to look like exactly have been made. I think this is the first step. I also want to acknowledge a lot of the comments about rethinking our police budget. I think we are expanding in different directions, and so I do hear that as well, and I think it's important for us to rethink where our priorities are at, especially, like I said at the beginning, from what we've learned this year. And so, again, thank you all for the youth for sharing. If you do have any more comments or other questions, feel free to reach out to our office or reach out to the city. And also want to plug, and I'm sure Jeff will as well, our Fund Phoenix tool. It serves two purposes. One, for folks to actually let us know where they prefer us to look at and spend the money, but it also allows you all to understand the budget fully. It allows you to go in as deep as you want to see exactly where all our dollars are going. And so looking forward to more of these. If you're watching on YouTube or on TV, you'll have an opportunity. Please check out the schedule for the rest of these budget hearings, and thank you all. Thank you, staff and city manager, for hosting this.
Thank you, Councilmember Garcia. Thank you to all the staff for being here this evening, and most of all, thank you to everyone who took time to call in and express your thoughts and opinions. There's clearly been a lot of thought put into that, and we appreciate that time and input. Have a great evening, and again, this is available online through the Phoenix TV YouTube channel. Thanks.
Past